I guess 3 is going to be my lucky number now. So I'll go ahead and do closing thoughts, you guys. Most importantly, remember that when we pray, pray is only the first step in the action. We have to be willing to operate in a place of faith. We have to be willing to do the work. And sometimes that means doing the work when the other mate doesn't want to, or they're not fully invested yet. Sometimes we have to believe for our mate when they can't believe for themselves, right? In the prayer room, the movie, I don't know if you guys saw it, the husband did not believe in his marriage. He was doing whatever he wanted to. He was, dating a woman on the side. As a matter of fact, that was one of the points I wanted to cover, and that was infidelity and understanding you have to love your way through, forgiving, remembering it took time to get to where you are, using the infidelity as a weapon, or to get pity and prayer and patience. And so that's the part that I didn't get a chance to cover. But, in the movie for the war room, the wife kept praying and she kept believing and she changed her behavior. She didn't argue with her husband. She made it a point to keep being the wife, to keep doing her wifely duties, to keep taking care of her family. And what happened eventually was the Lord started working out in the husband. He had to go through some things so that he could appreciate the wife that he had and appreciate that his behavior is what was destructive to their marriage, right? And so that was one of the topics I didn't get to discuss, infidelity and in addressing the why. And addressing, how to keep that from happening, and how do we, keep the lines of communication open with our mate? How do we, forgive? How do you survive in a relationship in which there has been infidelity? How do you, I know that from my first marriage, and I know that it's a difficult place to be, and that it's a very painful place to be. And so, but I also know that in my forgiveness, my mate could not give up the behavior. And so sometimes we find ourselves in that place where the mate cannot give up the behavior, and sometimes we have to move on, for our best interest. And so we pray and ask the Lord to give us the strength so that we're able to come through that, and we're able to heal and not, become bitter afterwards. It took me 4 years to get through it, okay? And so you have to be willing to give yourself time to heal so that you can move on with your life. So I talked about, oh no, I didn't. I wanted to talk about prayer and patience and praying and working at it. And so it requires us, as I mentioned, for the war room, the movie, you see where the wife was willing to do the work. So ask yourself, when you're praying, and you're asking the Lord to help you and to save your marriage, first of all, are you being deliberate about what you're asking the Lord to do? Maybe try asking the Lord to help me to be a better mate. Help me to love my mate, regardless to what their flaws are. Help me to see them through your eyes, Lord. Help me to be patient. Help me to be empathetic. And then we can start talking about our mate. Lord, help them to see that, I really want what's best for them. Help them to see me through your eyes. Help them to have more empathy and understanding and compassion for me. I didn't want to go too long, but it's 8:07. I did want to have an opportunity to address this one huge point, and that is for those of you out there who are survivors and you are having a difficult time in your relationship, and you are trying to live with your disorder, and you're trying to find your grounding for recovery and still be there and be a sense of present in your marriage with your mate. What I have come to learn through my research and through working with other family caregivers and reading articles and watching videos, and they did a series. I was out of town last year and I caught a series. I actually did a Periscope on it here, where there was a young woman who was bipolar and schizoaffective, and she had children with her husband, and it was difficult for her to connect with her children because the children with the screaming and lots of loud talking was a trigger for her. And so she, initially she would shut down and she would run out of the house and she'd take on, drinking and using drugs. And so the husband was at his wit's end because he was the one caring for the children all the time. And, she would just bail when she was having negative symptoms instead of staying and talking openly with them and trying to work through it and staying compliant, staying on her treatment plan. And so the husband had actually given her an ultimatum. He told her he was having a difficult time. He was raising the kids alone. He's working and he's trying to take care of her. And she was just mentally and physically checking out. And so she had to make a deliberate attempt. She had to change her life and she had to commit. And so what I want to say to you as a survivor, if you're watching this broadcast and you're wondering, I'm in such dire straits. I think I've made such a huge mess of my marriage and I don't know what to do. I think my mate's going to leave me, right? You have the opportunity right here in the now to take ownership for your behavior, right? To understand that your mate understands that you have an illness and that the negative symptoms that are associated with your illness is not your fault. But that does not give you a permission to go full bore and to do what you choose and to say the things that you want to your mate that can be sometimes very painful and hurtful, okay? You have to be willing to take accountability and to apologize when things go awry. Your mate understands that it may be difficult for you. Your mate understands that you may have a negative part of your symptom, but to use that as an excuse to be able to have free reign on your behavior and your mate, that's not fair. That's not fair. And you're robbing your marriage of the happiness. You can take the initiative to get the help that you need. Oh, boy. Oh, I know that you are not out of storage.